Hi, guys. I'm back. I want to read you something. You'll probably recognize it right off the bat, and I won't have to say much more. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Yeah, that's Psalm 23. Years ago, probably 8, 9 years, I woke up one morning and this was running through my head. It was just over and over and over. Faith is fully and implicitly trusting Him. Faith. Faith is fully. Forgot what I was doing. Faith is fully and implicitly trusting Him. Fully and implicitly trusting Him. Fully and implicitly trusting Him. And I said, Lord, I love that because I trust Him with everything. Look, I've trusted God to put food on my table when I cooked my last egg and my last piece of bread, and I never did get hungry. I've fasted for weeks. That the first few days I got up and drank my diet Dr. Pepper, Diet Pepsi, straight out of the machine, nice and cold, but I didn't have anything else. It was water the rest of the day. Not hungry. After about 3 days, I dropped my 2 quarters in, got my drink, popped the top on it, and I heard him say, "What are you doing?" "I'm going to drink my Dr. Pepper. It's what I start with every day." "Really? I asked you for a complete fast." I poured it down the drain. Now, folks, anybody that knows me knows I get up with a Diet Dr. Pepper or a Diet Pepsi in my hand. I drink 2 of these a day with Diet Dr. Pepper, Diet Pepsi, and then I drink water. I start with a cup of water. I drink my 2 Diet Pepsis, and then I have water in my cup all day long. When I had chemo in 2013, they told me I needed to consume a gallon of liquid. At the time, I was drinking Diet Pepsis all day long. But when they told me that, a gallon of liquid and it needed to be water, I dropped everything but 2 a day. So I dumped it. I drained that can right there. I poured it in a sink and got rid of it. And for several weeks, I got to the point I wasn't even thirsty. I didn't even care for water. It just didn't matter. All I wanted was God's touch and God's blessing. And when I started my fast, I felt like He was saying that I needed to fast until someone told me I could eat. So for several weeks, I had company come over. I cooked for them, and nobody noticed that I wasn't eating. There were 2 people who knew. My mother came to me and told me, while you are fasting, be sure to cover your loved ones with prayer. Okay, new step. I did not tell my mother I was fasting. The Holy Spirit did. And a lady at our church, sweet little German lady. We were having a fellowship and everybody was eating, and I went in and sat down at the table and just chatted and talked and, fellowshipped. And the pastor finally said, Ida, you better get something to eat. It's all going to be gone. And I said, I'll get it in a minute. And she was sitting beside me, and she leaned over and she said, aren't you fasting? And I said, yes. She said, I got you covered. End of conversation. I've got you covered. So she had my back. That woman had the prettiest accent I've ever heard. So when I woke up that day, and I could hear this in my head, fully and implicitly trusting him. Fully and implicitly trusting him. It was like a mantra. It just went over and over and over. And I said, Lord, I love it. But you can't just tell people that without giving them something to hold on to. And he said, Psalm 23. Psalms 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Fully and implicitly trusting him. Fully and implicitly trusting him. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. My favorite verse of all time is Jeremiah 29:11, where God says he knows the plans that he has for me, and they're plans to give me hope and a future. Fully and implicitly trusting him. Isn't that beautiful? Fully and implicitly trusting him. I trust him for everything. I trust my Father. I've gotten up in the mornings and said, Lord, what do I need to wear today? When I was working, what do I need to wear today? And I've let him select. One day I was driving and I was the Walmart Supercenter that I went to was like 11 miles from my house, straight road. You come out of the driveway of Walmart and you go this way 11 miles and you turn to the left, and 2 blocks down, that's where you live. Straight path. And I came out of the Walmart and I was like, okay, I got all my shopping done. I'm ready to go home. Need you to turn left. Wait a minute. Lord, I don't know this area. I'm new to this area. I don't know where you're taking me. Just turn left. So I turned left. And I drove maybe 4 miles. I was outside the city limits. Still had no clue where I was going. Okay, you can turn around now. I just turned around. Pulled into a driveway, backed out, and went the other way. Now you're going to veer off to the right. Okay. There was a Christian bookstore down there. And I went in. Didn't spend any money. Well, yes, I did. I bought a $5 little trinket thing. I didn't have a lot of money. I bought this $5 little trinket. I believe it had Jeremiah 29:11 on it. And I came back out and turned to the right out of the driveway and continued on my path. And, Lord, I have no idea where I am. It's okay. You're going to come to a stop sign, turn left. Okay. So I did. I got on this new road, and in about a mile, I crossed the road that I had been on a little bit earlier. And I said, I need to turn to the right here. I'll be going back to the freeway and going home. Nope. Stay on this path. Be a railroad and a stop sign. When you come to the stop sign, turn right. Okay. So I continued on. Sure enough, there's a railroad. Had to stop for the railroad. And then I came to a stop sign about, I don't know, half a mile down the road, a stop sign. And I turned right. And I didn't go half a mile. And I saw the road I needed to be on to go home. Fully and implicitly trusting him. Fully and implicitly trusting him. It's just beautiful. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Luke 6:38 says, give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. For with what measure you give, it will be given back to you. When I started my cancer treatment in 2013, I did what I knew I had to do. I believe in healing. I fully believed upon hearing this diagnosis. First, I didn't think I'd ever get it. But I fully believed upon hearing this diagnosis that someone would lay their hands on me and I would be healed completely. And nobody would be able to say I had cancer. But I went to my knees and he said, I need you to go through this. I need you to show people that you are a victim of amazing grace. Faith is fully and implicitly trusting him. And I did. And he healed completely. Tumors that were never supposed to go away were gone. Recorded medically. He healed me because I am a victim of amazing grace. It's my book. That's my journal. When you fully and implicitly trust him, you don't question. You just do what he says. I didn't cry. They told me I had just a short few years to live. And I laughed. And the doctor looked at me and said, how can you laugh? I just gave you a death sentence. And I said, you didn't write my life story. You can't tell me how it ends. The one thing my husband and I agreed on was that there would be no negatives. No matter what, there would be no negatives. A lady from our church came by, and I was a few weeks into the treatment. And she came by, and she sat down on my sofa, and she said, Ida, what are you going to do? And she just started bawling. And I said, the first thing I'm going to do is ask you to leave. Because I told everybody no negatives. There's enough of a battle going on up here. I don't need to hear it from anybody else. I was terminally ill with a cancer that at the moment had no cure. I never cried. My sister called me and she said, Ida, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to go through the treatments. and I'm going to do whatever God asked me to do. She said, but Ida, I need to be with you. She lives in Michigan, and I love her to death. And I said, Martha, I could walk out the door today and get hit by a truck. There's nothing you can do to change God's plan for me. He already wrote my name. He already has my story. I said, please don't call me back unless you have good news. And the next night she called me. And she had an hour and a half of scriptures and notes. And we talked for an hour and a half. And she built me up. And there were no more tears. There were no more tears in my family because I told them no negatives. And God healed me. 3 months into the treatment, halfway, they did another CAT scan. And the doctor came in and he said, I don't know how this is happening, but the tumors have shrunk by half. I had tumors that big in my belly. Bunches. He said the tumors have shrunk by half. I said, well, it's because they're going away. At the end of the 6 months, they did a PET scan. They couldn't find not one single tumor in my body. Not one. The chemo didn't make me ill. I did sleep. I slept a lot. I was very tired. But my husband was my protector. My family stayed right beside me. My friends, I ran into them at the cancer center one day. They were there with another lady that they were trying to encourage. And I told them my motto: fully and implicitly trusting Him. Fully and implicitly trusting Him. They went home and they made me a wooden plaque. It hangs on my wall over there. It has a cross and it says, fully and implicitly trusting Him. Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I don't want for anything. Oh, sure, there are things that my mind says, you'd probably like to have that. Mm-hmm. But I'm not hungry. I mean, if you look at me, you'd see I weigh close to 200 pounds, and you'd go, oh, well, she's not hungry. My lights haven't been shut off. My phone still works. Look, my computer works. I have a 5-year-old we're raising, and we haven't wanted for anything for him. His needs are provided, and we don't get child support, but his needs are part of our needs. We take care of them. Fully and implicitly trusting Him. Because I am a victim of amazing grace. I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.